Controversy has erupted over Miss Michigan being stripped of her title due to racist tweets. It's a complicated issue, but it's something we could probably expect. And it's more complicated than just saying she was fired or stripped because of racist tweets. I think at its core, the story has to do with general PR and how the left dominates marketing. So I want to stress, there was a study I went over a while ago that shows marketing campaigns exist in the same sphere online as the resistance. When you realize that and see that data, you know then. It doesn't matter what your politics are, it matters if they think you're bad. And if marketing companies and PR firms are in the same, bracket as the resistance, they look at you as fringe and out of touch. So, to understand what's actually going on, let's read the story. And I want to break this down because I want to push back on some of the false narratives from both sides. Well, mostly, you've got a lot of victimhood happening right now over this firing, but let's break it down. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, share the video because my and many other independent channels have been deranked. YouTube doesn't like us, so if you like me, please share the video. Let's read on. Donald Trump supporting model Kathy Zhu stripped of Miss Michigan title over racist tweets. A Donald Trump supporting model and activist has been stripped of her title for posting racist tweets and refusing to try on a hijab. Now, I think the hijab thing might be hyperbole, but we'll read the story and we'll talk about it anyway. A Donald Trump supporting model. Oh, how many times are they going to say that? Don't you hate when news stories do that? From news.com.au, let's skip the nonsense. Kathy Zhu, 20, a University of Michigan student who has more than 70,000 followers across Instagram and Twitter, where she goes by the handle Political Kathy, is a prominent online conservative and is the vice chair of her campus Republican student group. Zhu, who was born in China and immigrated to the U.S. when she was 5, first gained internet fame during the 2016 election campaign. In 2018, she sparked controversy after posting, quote, about a, quote, try a hijab. What is this? Let's open this. Try a hijab event at the University of Central Florida, and later that year announced she was transferring to Michigan. So we have a tweet here from July. She says, my message while as Miss Michigan is to advocate for speaking your truth, especially in today's political climate. We are quick to attack each other based on perceptions and stereotypes. It's time we take a step back and realize that our diversity of thought is what makes America strong. Earlier this week, she was named as 2019 national finalist by Miss Indiana and Miss Michigan World America, the first phase of the competition before the Miss and Teen World America preliminary and finals in Las Vegas in October. In a Twitter post on Thursday, Zhu said she had been stripped of her Miss Michigan title, quote, due to my refusal to try on a hijab in 2018, my tweet about black-on-black gun violence, and insensitive statistical tweets. One of her earlier tweets in question asked if she was asking people if they knew the majority of black deaths are caused by other blacks. She said, fix the problem with your own community first before blaming others. I want to point this out real quick, too. The post itself is not racist. It's statistically true. I also want to point out Black Lives Matter activists have absolutely highlighted this. I've interviewed them in Chicago. And I think it's important to point out, depending on what you look at in the news, you might think it is or isn't being talked about. And that's one of the big challenges. I'd imagine that Kathy Zhu is looking at activists like Shaun King, who is a provocateur, terrorist empathizer, encourager. He's a terrible, terrible person. And it's unfortunate that the squeaky wheels get the grease. People like Shaun King are not the barometer of what Black Lives Matter should or shouldn't be doing. Unfortunately, the media props him up. It's unfortunate that they prop up grifters like him who then advocate for terror. Because I've interviewed the actual people in Chicago who absolutely have black-on-black violence as their number one priority. But just because that problem exists doesn't mean other problems don't exist. And I think that's important to point out. I will also stress it is absolutely within Kathy Zhu's right to point this out too. And I'm sure her criticism is specifically targeting people like Shaun King. All right, but let's read on. So she posted these two emails. Let me, I believe I have her tweets opened up. We'll jump over to them in a second. Zhu shared a screenshot from an email from Miss World America, Michigan, State Director Lori DeJack, stating she had accused me of being racist, Islamophobic, and insensitive. Ms. DeJack wrote in the email, it has been brought to the attention of Miss World America that your social media accounts contain offensive, insensitive, and inappropriate content, and in violation of WMA's rules and conditions, specifically, the contestant requirement of being of good character and whose background is not likely to bring into disrepute Miss World America, or any person associated with the organization. That's the point that needs to be brought up. I do not believe the issue, hold on, let me say this. It's complicated, right? It's not that the people running the show are politically biased and that they don't like conservatives. It's that marketing itself is, and they're going to default to where they think marketing is. So it's very obvious when you look at all of the corporate pride logos, right? We had Pride Month, right? All of a sudden, every logo for every company is a rainbow. When I see that, I just assume you're full of it. You don't actually care about anyone's rights, and you're trying to make money. So please, corporations, don't do that. But whatever, fine. If people like it, I don't know. I just think they're lying. And I would actually agree with Lauren Duca on this one, who is a progressive, that it's, I believe they call it rainbow washing or pink washing or corporate, what do they call it? Rainbow corporatism or something like that. They don't actually care about these issues. They just want to make money. But the important point is that's where marketing is, right? So there was this graph I looked at that mapped out Twitter, and you can see like Democrat, Republican. Then you had the resistance, which is like on the far left of the Democrats, and brand marketing was in that same spectrum. So what that says to me is two things. Either the people who run marketing campaigns who would believe that saying these things would bring disrepute to Miss America are either aligned with or believe that mainstream America holds these views, right? So if you look at cable, if you look at late night television, I don't believe these networks are holding these views, like, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think they say things about Trump because they think that they personally hold similar views. They certainly do to an extent. I think for the most part, they assume everybody must hate the president because they live in a bubble. So these brand marketing people live in New York. They're in a bubble. They then assume everybody likes these things. They don't. They then put, look what happened with Gillette. Gillette does that woke commercial, backlash, surprise. And then, people want to argue it did or didn't help. It doesn't matter if it helped or not. It was a massive backlash. Nike did the thing with Kaepernick, and then immediately everyone goes, oh, look, the stock's up. Like, yeah, the stock's going to go up no matter what. It's a massive global brand. But brand recognition went down. Well, let's read on. She added, therefore, and effective immediately, WMA does not recognize you as a participant of any sort or in any capacity as it relates to any and all the events of MWA. Furthermore, let this communication serve as official notice to remove any mention of yourself as a participant in MWA from all social media platforms, including photographs of you wearing the MWA Michigan sash and/or crown, and any text claiming to be a participant of MWA events. What they don't seem to realize is that in trying to avoid the controversy, they made the controversy happen. But I guess maybe that's what they want to happen. So Catherine Zhu is a model. Of course, she is very attractive. You can tell in these beautiful photos they have of her on this website. And here she is wearing her MAGA cap. They just show, they go on to show a bunch of beautiful photos of this woman. I thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not sure if it's entirely relevant for the story, but at least one or two photos, I suppose. In her email reply, Zhu wrote, statistics and facts are not always pleasant. It's disgusting how you would rather lie to the public's face than be supportive of someone that is trying to make a difference by talking about subjects that no one dares say. Referring to the hijab incident, she added that a Muslim woman tried to forcibly put a hijab on my head without my permission. What's insensitive is that women in the Middle East are getting stoned to death for refusing to obey their husband's orders or to wear hijabs. I tweeted about it on social media. Almost everyone was supportive of me refusing to be put in that situation. Are the people in MWA implying that they advocate for the punishment of women who refuse to wear a hijab? That's hyperbolic, okay? Let's break this down to what's happening. Marketing companies are in bubbles. They look at her and say, oh, that's not what Americans want, because they think their ivory tower opinions reflect all of America. I was talking to some folks, I'm not going to name them, but they're personalities in media, and they said in Europe, it was like 2015, they were in Europe, and they were hearing all this press, and they assumed everybody hated Trump, and it was so weird that he won the Republican nomination. Then they come back to the US and they go to North Carolina, and all they see are Trump signs everywhere, and they went, wait a minute, the media's got to be wrong on this one, and immediately started predicting Trump is going to win. And this was, and then he went to win. And the point was the media people who do PR, who do news, live in a bubble, and they have no idea. I don't believe they're removing her because she refused to wear a hijab. I don't believe it's political at all. I believe they're a PR firm. There was a PR firm advising the company saying, oh, that stuff, that's far right. We read the New York Times, we read BuzzFeed, we read Vox. And there you have it. When in reality, nobody really cared. There was no controversy. She's just another conservative putting her opinion on the internet. But here you have it. The culture war is a dangerous beast. There's no middle anymore. There's just none. Like, we know that centrism exists. People like me exist. Not a fan of Trump, leaning policy-wise towards the left. Don't have Trump derangement syndrome. Kind of think Trump has done some good things, like centrism. You know, there you go. Boom. I'm right here. What does the media say? Right wing. Because they've just gotten rid of whatever platform there was to actually be in the middle and have a conversation about these things. So you're either with us or you're against us. That's the mentality. This is why I believe she's being removed. Obviously, politics plays a role in this. The point I'm trying to make is, I'm sure they don't actually care. I'm sure they're just like, uh-oh, people are going to panic. We better get rid of her. And then they do. And thus, they've created the controversy. Congratulations! You've made the controversy you're trying to avoid, but whatever. Music video director Robbie Starbuck added, apparently you can't even participate in Miss World LTD pageant if you're gasp openly Republican. What a sorry bunch of bigots. Political Kathy, you're still Miss Michigan to anyone with a functional frontal lobe in their brain. Stick around, more segments to come in a few minutes, and I will see you shortly.